So
like my choice.
there might be a little more to the story of what was going on. So we're going to try and pipe in our Nerd Rage Judge Coordinator, Max Kahn, to explain any further follow-up he's got as to the situation that happened this round.
Hey there, folks. So we've been working with Gabriel to try to get them reconnected to the match here. And unfortunately, there was some instances where he was going down and coming back online. We gave him the allotted 10 minutes. We thought everything was going to work for Game 3, but Gabriel just informed us that his moto crashed again. So unfortunately, we will not have a Game 3 to this match. Gabriel will have to forfeit due to loss of connection, and Thomas will be moving on to the finals.
Okay.
So, assuming this is the first time we've done this, but assuming everyone heard that, Gabriel is not able to recover his connection, so Thomas will move on to the finals. So our finals for today is going to be Ricardo Sánchez playing 4-color control against Thomas Loraas playing colorless Eldrazi. So thanks for sticking with us during that couple-minute disruption there. It's probably closer to like 10 minutes, so thanks for being patient with us. We now have the deck list ready to go for the finals. So here is Thomas's Eldrazi deck up first. It's we've seen Thomas already today. We just saw him briefly, or for part of this round. We have Chalice of the Voids, which are, like Will's talked about a few times, great against the red deck. Probably was presumably important in when Thomas beat the mono red deck in the round of top 8. Now in the finals against his Omnath deck, it's still relevant, but certainly not game winning on its own.
Yeah, the Chalice of the Voids are they're fine. They're good against Path to Exile, which is one of Gabriel's better cards, but they're not phenomenal or anything. They're fine, I guess. I expect some number to be boarded out.
Right. So we do have. I don't think too many times today we've had just actual dead cards, but this Ether Gust in Gabriel's deck actually does nothing.
Yeah, you can put your own Omnath on top to save it from a Dismember or something, but short of that, not a whole lot going on.
Right. But again, this is more or less the same matchup we just saw with the Omnath deck against Eldrazi. Eldrazi has a chance to pull ahead, but then it really needs to finish the game before Omnath is given too much reign to just do whatever it wants.
Yep.
So if the players are ready, we're good to go down. If not quite there yet, okay. So let's go ahead and bring up the sideboards. Okay, so here's Gabriel's sideboard. Against Eldrazi Tron, we have Cleansing Wildfire, which is
that's a good card for sure.
Not late, but very nice early, especially against the jerk Eldrazi players that actually have Tron on turn 3.
Yeah, I mean even late it just cycles, so I mean the floor is not too low, and I mean it's not great late, but it cycles, and if you can shut off a Temple, shut off a Cavern of Souls, or keep them off Tron is the best case scenario. Keeping them off Tron is huge game, right?
And also as we saw in the last match, I mean the wastes do run out.
Yep,
and
for sure.
So combined with the Path to Exiles, so the Wildfires eventually maybe just cantrip Stone Rains, so that at that point it's pretty strong, I guess. We see Sweepers, Explosives, and Verdict. Explosives probably not coming in, although it does kill Chalice. So it's probably not, let me rephrase that. It's probably not coming in to kill creatures, but
yeah, I was not expecting to the Chalice is so mediocre against Gabriel anyway that I wouldn't expect him to care enough to bring him in
and to deal with it also.
Is this sideboard of the player who was dropped? Though?
Yes, it is.
I believe it's Ricardo versus.
You were right. This is the wrong. We've been presented with the wrong. Did we get the right main deck? All right. So yeah, you know what? I think I noticed that it was the Time Warp version that was in the finals. So I think we looked at the wrong. We just looked at the deck list.
They're pretty close to the same.
Lost in the top 4. They're very similar. However, it's not quite the same. I believe the final. I actually look at it for myself, even though I can't show it to you guys. But the version in the finals is the Time Warp version, not the Hour of Promise version. I wowould say, and I think we talked about this earlier, I think against Eldrazi Tron, I think I'd rather be on the Hour of Promise version.
I agree with that. Time Warp is, like we talked about, is good when you're ahead and you have stuff in play, and Eldrazi Tron is good at just like playing creatures, pressuring your planeswalkers, and Field of Dead it's going to go over the top of what Etron is doing a lot of the time. Karn, the Great Creator, can like throw a wrench in that, like with like ensnaring bridge you out or whatever. But like you have so many answers to bridge between Teferi and Cryptic Command or whatever. Like you can get rid of it pretty easily.
Okay, so while we're getting this sorted out, whatever just happened now, I know we've asked for your patience a few times today. This is sometimes things like this happen during live broadcasts. Players' internet, especially when we're remote like this. For those of you that don't know, I mean, this has been coordinated in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, judged from Seattle, Washington, and commentated from Redlands, California, and wherever Will is, which is also in Illinois.
Yeah,
I think.
Yes, in the middle of the cornfields.
Okay, so we're getting there. It sounds like we are almost there. There's just a couple steps left, but as soon as the match is ready. Will and I are ready, and I'm sure the viewers are ready. So, even if we have to dispense with some of the graphical niceties, and the players are ready to go, we can just jump right in. All right. So, players need another minute to challenge each other, I guess. All right. So we went through 6 rounds today and 2 elimination rounds. We did not see a deck quite like the one I would have registered. More's the pity for me, as I want to make some changes to my deck. I would have been interested to watch how it played out, but no one brought it. Do we have my deck to bring up just for another thing to show while we're waiting? We looked at Will's deck, I think about an hour and a half ago, but we looked at my deck way back early today. Doesn't sound like we do. So.
We do have it.
Sounds like we do have it. So this
nice.
This is what I would have signed up to play today. I won a league with this week. I wasn't. It's kind of, there's some things I'm not happy with in it. I think I'm not a big fan of the non-tutorable singletons, like I said earlier. So I think I would dump the Geist of St. Traft, even though it performed well. But I would probably not play another Geist. I would maybe play another Deputy or some other card instead. Okay, it sounds like we're making progress in the actual event. We actually have the players seated at the virtual table. Let's go. Here we are.
Nice.
The finals of the event. It took us a while to get to this point, but we are here. It looks like Ricardo Sánchez is on a mulligan. It looks like Thomas Loraas is on a mulligan. And we're starting up game 1 of the finals. We made it.
Beautiful hand. Turn 2 Planeswalker. Turn 3 Planeswalker. Turn 4 Planeswalker. Nothing else. Just Planeswalkers and a Path to Exile. This is going to be huge. Okay, so Thomas does have Tron on turn 3, which is a massive deal.
Yeah. So do you even feel comfortable running out Ren 6? Yeah, you have to run out, right? You can't just
option is pass the path up. I mean, it's bad if it gets smashered, but like,
I mean, if it does,
it's that's a huge problem anyway. Like, yeah. I mean, looks like Thomas just has a turn 3 Tron draw on the play. If he's got really anything good to back this up, then I mean, even 2 Matter Reshapers is still going to be pretty good, and that's like one of the worst case scenarios for Thomas.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, Ren 6 recurs a land, and if it is a Matter Reshaper, then being positive on loyalty is nice, as being able to survive a hit.
Absolutely.
Is good. Now, if it's a Smasher or even a Thought on Seer, isn't really. A Smasher is so much better than every other possible option here.
Smasher is a game changer. If you have Thought Knot, you probably lead on the Thought Knot to get the path out of the hand first. Okay, so we probably have just a Smasher, but that's still phenomenal play like we were talking about. Teferi minus is not super effective. I would expect our turn to be the kind of awkward of just tap land, go, path your guy.
Right.
Maybe play the Misty because he knows about it.
And then you just have, you got, let's see, you got to get... Yeah, you got to get a third. Well, I guess either way, either turn you'll get a blue source into play, and then you can path off of Mystic Sanctuary for as long as you need to. But against
that was the last land I would have played, because Thomas knows about the Misty, right?
Right.
and they're pretty close to identical. I don't know. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I would have played the Mystery Force or the Breeding Pool. I think either of those is fine, but Flooded Strand is the one that you shouldn't play, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're probably just going to discard a Misty or maybe a Breeding Pool and be in a similar spot. But
yeah, in the mirror, I probably would have been more willing to just, play down the fetches, and then if we have to shock Breeding Pool later on, who cares? Against Eldrazi Tron, I really don't want to shock that Breeding Pool if I don't have to. Okay, and it just gets pitched. Okay, so that's all right then. Although I still agree with you. Yeah,
these represent Sanctuary, which is certainly something.
Right. Yeah. So the wrong land is played, but when a Rainforest comes down this turn, then the difference is gone.
Ooh, yeah, that's a huge issue.
Coding. I suppose if a Pive Needle came down and named Rainforest now, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see Thomas get liquid metal coating here. This is going to be a massive issue for Ricardo. This is just a great draw by Thomas, and this is what I was talking about. Like, this is the kind of draw you need to hang with these blue decks, right? Like, we saw the turn 2 Maze Mind Tome, turn 3 Matter Shaper, turn 4 Karn draw lose to Gabriel Nicholas in the semifinals, right?
Yeah, and this is on
and like those medium draws aren't very good enough. And this is just like this overwhelming, like turn 3 Tron Smasher, turn 4 Karn, coating your land, play a 3/2, which is, the Reshaper is kind of whatever, but.
Mm-hmm. But at least it's something. It does actually. Teferi could just freely bounce the coating and then stay on the board, and the Reshaper will prevent that or at least knock it out.
Yeah, but then the coating is gonna come down again, and it's gonna start destroying a land every single turn, which is just a huge long-term issue. Oh, we're gonna rebuy this path to protect our Teferi, perhaps. It appears to be what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna. So I assume we're like bouncing, coating, pathing this Reshaper. Like on the board, Thomas can just get a Sunring Titan, assuming he plays one, and then we're just dead to that, right? Like mountain, forest, island, plains, all our lands are dead. There's a 7/10 in play.
Well, hold on. Let's just think this through here. Mountain, forest, island. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sunring Titan will wipe this board from existence.
Yeah, this is gonna be nasty.
Oh, well, it's actually not even. Yeah. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, we get to do it like this, so we don't.
You just do it this way too. Instead of doing it all at once.
Yeah, this is no.
Okay, yeah. This was done to just shut off the mana source. Yeah, that makes sense. And nice Expedition or whatever that alternate Sunring Titan is comes in and clears the board entirely. So Thomas had some games today that looked a little shaky. That was not one of them.
No, that was about as good as it gets. Sort of turn 3 Karn, but honestly, Thomas could have just had the Karn and you wanted to play the Smasher because it was much safer against Force of Negation.
Sure.
Which would make a lot of sense to me, honestly. Just this play is great because Ricardo's tapped out and there's nothing that can be done about it, and then you'll be able to just jam the Karn next turn if he has Force, and it gets Force then, and you can easily pay for Mana Leak. Archmage's Charm complicates things a little bit, but since open deck lists that Ricardo doesn't have any. So, and you also even know about no Mana Leaks. It's actually just Force Negation and Cryptic Command. There's like no permission, almost. So you know that your Karn should be good next turn.
All right, so let's see. What are we doing to help ourselves here? I don't think any changes have been made yet, so he's still thinking, or he's waiting, or maybe present same 60, or did I just misread it? I must have.
I don't believe we submitted same 60.
Okay.
This hand's fine, right? We do want to find a red source, but we've got a Growth Spiral as a redraw, so.
Yeah. Growth Spiral is like, I don't love this hand. It's fine. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Would you force an Expedition map off a Tron piece here? And if so, what would you pitch?
Yeah.
Oh, well, here we are.
Yeah. Would you pitch the Time Warp? I think you pitch the Time Warp.
I would also pitch the Time Warp. This Uro, I did not want to pitch that Uro at all. Honestly, at this point, if I was Thomas, I would be making the read that it's unlikely that Ricardo has many more blue cards at all. Oh, we got red? Why did we get red? Didn't we want to cycle this Growth Spiral?
So I was thinking I didn't want to fetch at all.
That would also be reasonable. Okay. Well,
but here we go. This is
all right. Here we are.
Yeah,
I think fetching Ketria Triome or not fetching at all are both totally fine. I think fetching Ravagran Triome is a little sketch to say the least. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, where we are, and Ren 6 comes down, picks up a Rainforest. So now the development looks like it's going to work. We had 2 Tron pieces, so good thing we got rid of the map, and we have the double scry that we've seen before out of Eldrazi Tron when Maze Mine comes down in turn 2.
Yeah, we're really just looking for Urza's Mine. We didn't get to hit it, so it's okay. Expedition map is good. I mean, we have Tron on turn 4.
Well, sort of. I mean, we could see a just a Cryptic Command to bounce a Tron land to delay
possible. It. Yeah, and then we actually get to start just like Time Warp ourselves and get our Ren up to high loyalty and ultimate it, right? Would that actually just be good enough?
So this is because this is going to develop really well.
We're a little short, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't played enough of these Time Warp decks, but you can definitely do a lot of stuff here if you just bounce a land or just counter whatever Thomas plays. But that gives you Thomas the opportunity to play 2 things.
Yeah,
so we need to counter this.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I kind of wish we would have just bounced a land and drawn.
Yeah, I agree. That would have been better. And then we could untap Time Warp and then Sanctuary the Time Warp and do a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then maybe ultimate this Ren and have Time Warp, and then you're in a really good spot. Another Thought-Knot-Seer here. Oh, Karn.
Yeah,
Karn
I know.
Karn can get Crypt.
Karn
it would be pretty heads-up play. Karn got Crypt, then we have some issues. But if we get anything else or just plus, then it's really good.
I mean, Crypt isn't even that bad because we have 2 Time Warps.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world at all. It's scary to go for Crypt from Thomas's perspective because of Lightning Bolts, although I don't remember how many Ricardo plays.
I think generally these lists have 1. Ricardo has
that's correct.
1 main and 1 board, and I wouldn't even feel confident that the other one came in.
Yeah, it's possible the other one even came out. Like, they're not very good. They're good at like exactly the scenario when Karn comes down and ticks down. But yeah, the Crypt is a really heads-up play, and not using it there is also heads-up.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure.
This is still really good for.
Yeah, this is so powerful. I mean, these decks are so impressive when all this.
Yeah, I mean, everything's kind of coming together. Like, we're gonna get to emblem this Ren with Time Warp with 2 Time Warps, right? And then we're gonna be forced to Tormod's Crypt with one of the Time Warps, and then we're just gonna play the other one and just take as many turns as we can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to burn off our ability to recur once to bleed out the Crypt. But
I think this might be game. Like, we're pretty close to taking infinite turns. Like.
And we are going to be able to knock out the Karn, which is nice. But yeah, I'm with you there. We are rapidly approaching the end of this game, despite the fact it's on turn 5.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really impressive start here. Just like.
Yeah, so the Sanctuary so the decision here is from Thomas's perspective, do I Crypt now to wipe out this command? The decision is no.
I would have been very tempted to just fire it off there, in case, in case Ricardo plays something like an Uro, draws the Cryptic and whatever, and it is not Time Warp, but he is heads up and plays around Time Warp, so he can Crypt the Time Warp before Ricardo's able to Sanctuary. But Ricardo's ready with the second Time Warp to be able to emblem this Ren. So I assume we're going to start by just playing Misty, fetching, and targeting our Time Warp. Or I guess you probably start with this too. Yeah, this is better.
Yeah, start with this. And then you actually don't even have to fetch. You could just play the Sanctuary. Well, I guess this is fine too.
You want the mana, I think.
Oh, right, sure. No, you're right.
And we also get to like Teferi, and like you can bounce something if you want, or you can just have the Teferi in play, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ricardo, we questioned pitching the Uro instead of the Time Warp, but
it shows us, right?
Pretty tremendous here.
Yeah, shows up.
Uro would have been good also, but this Time Warp is going to be just.
Yeah, I mean, the second Time Warp is a huge deal, so props to Ricardo for keeping the Time Warp there and just sort of having a vision for where this game's going to go on like turn 6. Like, just has the plan and sticks to it. Yeah, now we get to do everything.
Goodness.
Now we're embleming this Ren, and we have another. This is actually just infinite turns, right? Because we just
because of the Ren is 6 and
So we just attack 4 times, and this is game.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a really impressive element to this blue deck.
Really, I know this is something else. If you're not playing counters or discard,
you have this crazy late game, and this is lethal on turn 5. This is it says turn 7, but we've taken 2 extra turns. This is our 5th turn. Thomas was setting up for a really nice long game with turn 4 Tron and like a Planeswalker and Maze Mind Tome. He's just dead. He's dead.
I mean, comparatively, Thomas took over game 1 pretty quickly also.
That's true. That's true. He was on the play with turn 3 Tron. And Thomas does get to play for game 3.
These 2 games in the finals both decks have seemed much more destructive than they had in the last few rounds.
Yes. There have been some very good draws from all the players, from both players.
All right, so there's the other Ren, and that should lead to a concession, and it does. So we're going to head to the final game of the event, Thomas Loraas versus Ricardo Sánchez. Both these players are streamers. Thomas plays under Ashiok_Nightmare_Weaver, and Ricardo plays under M. Richie, Richie MRICHI_. Both reasonably successful streamers. Congratulations to them. And they're playing. They both have already earned a qualification for the Arena Qualifier weekend in December by making top 8 today. They have both already pocketed $200 in cash for making it to the finals, and one of them, whoever wins this next game, is going to walk away with an extra $200.
Yeah.
So,
and a buy for the PTQ.
That's right, and the buy and free entry into the Nerd Rage Winter Championship, which will be played on December 20th. Yeah, which is open entry to anyone that wants. It's a $2,500 cash prize tournament, and you don't have to qualify to enter. It's going to be multi-format, and one of these players is going to win themselves a buy and free entry. So
yeah, these like smaller events leading up to that event are super, super nice. I've been loving the Nerd Rage series and playing some of their events myself. This is a pretty nice opening hand for Ricardo. Like Gross Spiral on 2 and then plenty of stuff to do.
Wow.
Oh man, when you see those 2 Eldrazi temples get tapped on turn 2, your first thought obviously goes to Thought-Knot Seer. This could still be a Thought-Knot Seer in Thomas's hand now. It's possibly just playing around Path deck style, which would be smart.
So I actually double tricked myself on that. First, I saw Double Temple. I was like, oh, it could be Thought-Knot Seer. And it wasn't. It was a Chalice. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a Chalice for 2. That locks out Gross Spiral. That's not how it works.
No, yeah, just for one. But yeah, I mean, a Reality Smasher or a Thought-Knot Seer here to follow up that Chalice would still be really, really strong. A Smasher in particular would be incredible. Oh, Cavern. So even no fear of Remand or any of that. Looks like we got a Smasher. Okay, really nice draw for Thomas.
Thomas did not come all this way to lose in the finals. His deck is bringing it, but
creepy in the semis there, but we take those.
Both play. Yeah, well, that's true.
That Uro might actually be able to outclass the Smasher if Thomas doesn't have a Karn ready to get Tormod's Crypt pretty soon.
Ooh. Well,
okay.
That was the ideal draw.
No, the third Omnath is not great. I think I would still play an Omnath here, though.
That's what I think also. I think you want to just get...
We're going to go for Teferi.
Okay. Well, that prevents the board from getting more out of it. All these cards draw one card.
This is reasonable. Just sort of slow Thomas down a little bit. And I would still think I would lean towards the Omnath, because if it lives, you get a huge mana burst to do everything if you can find a fetch.
Yeah.
Or even if you just find 2 lands because Earl puts in a second land. It's also
you don't even need a fetch. You had the Ren already in your hand.
Oh yeah. We get to just play Ren and pick up the Misty, and then we're good to go. I definitely would have leaned towards the Omnath myself, but I can't blame Ricardo for going for the Teferi.
And the Omnath, I mean, it's possible Thomas spends some mana dealing with the Omnath, whereas the Teferi at 1 loyalty is probably going to be ignored. But let's see. Thomas is giving some thought to the turn. We're tapping for Eldrazi mana.
Okay, looks like we're going to see a Thought-Knot Seer come down over the Smasher, and we'll just deal with the Teferi next turn. Seems reasonable to me. You can sort of see the mess that is Ricardo's hand. It's not even, I guess it's not even a mess, but like 3 Omnaths is a lot of Omnaths. So we could basically rule out one of those from being taken. I would expect him to take the Uro, to be completely honest. Maybe the second Teferi, but I think that's kind of just playing with fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the Teferi to go. I mean, I could see taking Wrenn and 6 because
that's not unreasonable.
The Wrenn and 6 fits in well with if a land is drawn, then the turn can be Omnath plus Wrenn and Uro.
Yes, and there's 2 draws at the land too.
Teferi, what's that?
Well, you just get the land guaranteed because you just go Wrenn, pick up land, Uro.
No,
right?
no, but you couldn't play the Omnath first though, unless you actually.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You're totally right.
But so
good. Sorry.
There is some thought to, because there's Wrenn and 6 and 2 3-mana spells.
Yep.
Taking the Wrenn and 6 has some merit because if the land is drawn, that makes that is what's selected.
Sure. It's totally legit. We're gonna see Ballista for 1. Can't imagine we'll take out this Teferi with another one sitting in hand here.
No, but I understand playing that one though.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We have no Tron lands in play, so we're nowhere close to being able to have a huge Ballista all at once. So yeah, throwing that down seems okay. This drawing an untapped mana source here would be pretty good. Okay. And maybe so far we could say that it was actually like vital.
Yeah, that's actually phenomenal. And it was really heads up of Ricardo to not fetch here, so he could draw like a Steam Vents or something and still get. Oh, it's not even true. That's
anything besides a Triumph would have worked.
No, because the Omnath needs to see the land. I was just wrong, right? Because you can't play the land before the Omnath.
Oh,
that Teferi's a huge draw.
No. It would have worked anyway because you just play whatever land, play the Omnath, and then fetch the other land.
Right, but then that land that you fetch is the first land that Omnath sees, so you just gain the 4. Even if it's the second land you enter.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah.
That Teferi is a massive draw. I expect to see that come down this turn. I can't really see a great argument for playing Uro into Teferi 3, big Teferi, and then. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're gonna go for Uro because we're not shocking. We're gonna maybe try to set up escaping Uro next turn. Maybe just I guess. Big Teferi, there's a known smasher, so this actually makes a lot of sense. Good call.
I mean, Big Teferi also is going to, if you minus it, it's just going to get picked off by the Ballista or...
Yeah. I forgot about the known smasher, which changes everything and makes a lot of sense. Solid play, as you'd expect from the player in the finals of the tournament, and not me, who's sitting here at home, not in the finals of the tournament.
Okay, so here's the smasher again. So Thought Seer is almost definitely not attacking because of the known Omnaths. So it's just
the Smasher makes a lot of sense. Presumably at the Teferi, at us. Okay, I guess we know about the second Teferi, so makes some sense.
So Ricardo could again really benefit from drawing a land here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
4th Omnath. Okay.
So that's why some people only play 3 Omnaths. That question is now answered. Now do you? Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Assume we're getting rid of the Chalice here. Yeah. Hoping for a fetch land. Or Wrenn 6. Okay, there's a fetch land. So now oh my gosh, this is so crazy when this happens.
It was really smart of Thomas to take the Wrenn 6 and try to limit this from happening, but the top of Ricardo's deck sort of delivered a few fetch lands here, and so we didn't need them.
Right. So now we have the Path to Exile and the big Teferi that are coming down. And
kind of got it all here.
Oh no!
Magic Online hasn't registered his breeding pool as tapping. It was just a weird bug.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does he not have white mana somehow? But no, it's just.
Yeah, you can see. So he's gonna be able to do it here. He's gonna tap the breeding pool, and you can see that sometimes the breeding pool is tapped but still highlighted, which means that there's issues. So even with drawing all 4 Omnaths, I would still say that Ricardo is in a pretty commanding position here.
Mm-hmm.
Get to Path to Exile something, probably Smasher, maybe Thought-Knot here because you want the card, and you can trade the Omnath for the Thought-Knot. where we've got 2 Planeswalkers going and Uro is escaping next turn, which is better than like every creature in Thomas's deck.
Yeah, this is I mean, there are a lot of dead cards in hand here for the Omnath deck. Well, there's 3 Omnaths. The namesake of the deck is worthless right now, and there's 3 of them in hand.
Yes. I mean, we can still cycle them. Like, we'll have enough mana at some point. Like, they're not, and if this Omnath lives, we're in great shape. And if it dies, we got 3 more. Like, whatever. Who cares if it dies?
All right. So what does Thomas need here?
He needs like Dismember plus Reality Smasher. That would be his best turn, I think.
That would be pretty good.
A card in the Great Creator could like get Crypt, or if there's another land, could get Cage and shut off the Uro. But even then, like, that's still not really winning the game. It actually would need to be Crypt because Cage gets tucked by Teferi, and Uro gets to escape anyway. So it would need to be Crypt. Oh, this is just such a rough spot for Thomas. He even had the double Temple draw with like a Thought-Knot and a Smasher and a Chalice of the Void and a Cavern. It was almost as good as you can ask for. But
yeah, and it was almost. I mean, it was 2 turns in a row where Ricardo's best draw was a fetch land. And he hit it both times.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
Yeah,
I mean,
Thomas took the Ren, which was a very, very heads up play, but sometimes they just peel the double fetch.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Ricardo drew a good card a couple times there. He also has drawn pretty badly other than that.
Yeah, the other cards are now. All 4 Omnaths.
Yeah, so, I mean, if those 3 Omnaths were a variety of other different cards, this game might be just... I mean, it feels like it's leaning Ricardo's way anyway, but it would just been a slaughter.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if one of these Omnaths is a Time Warp?
Yeah,
yeah. It's insanity. So we definitely are firing off the path here. One of these Omnaths probably going to get discarded if we target the Smasher. I would be tempted to target the Smasher because you can trade the Omnath for the Thought-Knot, or maybe you just want the card off the Thought-Knot.
No,
I like the Smasher, though.
Yeah, I like this because this way, I mean, there's not even an attack.
No, I mean, what is he going to do? Attack? Like, you can't trade Thought-Knot for Omnath when there's about 1 or 2 more in his hand, and then you can't let the Ballista get eaten. Like, neither of those is good trades for you. And like the 4 damage, you could pick off the Teferi Time Raveler, but you could just use the Ballista to do that. You can't kill this Teferi Hero Dominaria. Yeah, it really needed like another Smasher this turn. Like, okay, so we're gonna trade. Fair enough, I guess. But now Ricardo gets to draw a card and gets to profitably play his other Omnath. Or escape his Uro, whichever one he prefers. Oh, his plan, he only knew about 1 more Omnath.
This is heartbreaking for Thomas. You're right. He thought, I can Thought-Knot Seer, get the other Omnath, and then try and stabilize. And instead, not so much.
Oh, sorry, have all 4. Mystic Sanctuary can rebuy Path to Exile. But that doesn't do much because of the Chalice. We could tuck the Chalice, though, if we wanted to. Yeah, I mean, now, like, what can Ricardo draw that's bad? This Renin 6 is kind of bad, but it's Infinite Mystic Sanctuaries, which is not that bad.
I mean, Ricardo can draw, I guess. Yeah, there's no extra lands. I mean,
it gets way too out of hand, right? Like
7. So we can go here.
Time Warp is basically game.
Yeah.
It might be literally game. I'm not sure. We get to take a lot of turns in a row with this run.
But Uro seems, totally fine here.
Yeah, escaping Uro is probably going to be the play. Green, blue, blue. And then you can even put in both lands and play Omnath, right? If you just do Uro first. You just leave yourself with Ravagant Triumph, Hallowed Fountain, and then Sanctuary Forest, cast the Omnath.
You know what you can do, though, is you can Renin 6 and kill the Ballista.
Oh, yeah, that's another option you have available. The Ballista doesn't do a ton. I would probably expect to see the Uro just plus the Omnath come down and just, like, make 2 absolute must-answer haymakers. But Renin 6 also kind of fits that definition. So, yeah, starting with Uro is reasonable. I think every turn you play involves Uro, so you might as well do that one first because it draws a card and you can find something else you want to do.
Yeah, I agree with there.
Okay, nothing to really Sanctuary. I expected to see like Forest, and I expected not to see Ricardo Sanctuary or anything and just play it to play the Omnath out. But Ren here and just killing the Ballista is totally reasonable too, like you talked about. That allows you to preserve the Sanctuaries too, which has value. Oh, getting a land is weird. Yeah, that was not what I think.
I'm surprised by that. We're untapping mana. That doesn't help. Yeah. Okay.
Ballista doesn't really matter, but I mean, neither does the Misty Rainforest. So
yeah, killing it for free, because you can just return the land next turn. That's okay.
Okay.
That mattered, and that was actually
very real. We do get to return this Uro, and we have an Omnath though, so that's not as good as it looks. And Uro is something else, huh?
Right.
Okay, so now we have this. So Thomas has 2 copies of All Is Dust in his deck.
He one out last round in this matchup.
Okay, so we're probably done on those. We do have Remand to cover the second one from Ricardo's perspective.
Thomas really had a lot of tools here. I mean, drawing all these Omnaths actually mattered. If there'd only been one left in hand instead of 2, if he'd only drawn 3 instead of 4, then the Thought Knot would have taken the one that's left, and the All Is Dust would have cleaned up the Uro, and I guess there's still another. Oh, man,
all 4 Omnaths is just that's the thing about playing that's like a deliberate deck building decision that Ricardo made. He's like, okay, I'm okay drawing extra Omnaths because if I just have one going, I'm probably winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and that is a conscious thought that Ricardo had, and it's clearly playing out here. He's like, okay, I have Omnath going. I drew some extras. It didn't matter because I just had the other one going. So it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, just want to leave yourself with at least 1 fetch, and leave this best spell, which I guess is Growth Spiral, which makes a lot of sense. Ooh,
we can let's see.
How many lands have we had enter this turn?
2.
Okay, so we can't make more mana, right? And so we can't Time Warp. We're stuck here on 4.
Yeah.
We do get to pass the Remand up, which is kind of like Time Warp. There's a Cavern to break that up, but the creatures don't matter. Like Karn for something stupid, or like Ugin or All Is Dust matter.
This deck just seems so strong.
Yeah, I'm regretting my choice to say I'd play Green White Titan and not just this deck. Like, I should probably just play this deck.
Smasher, sure, can't even really attack.
No, Uro's just better than all the creatures. You get to remand whatever this is. Yeah, cycle the remand if you want.
You don't even have to.
You just spiral.
I guess you might as well. Yeah, you just spiral. Yeah, I mean, you could remand as a cantrip.
Yeah, I mean, just draw a card and. Yeah, I mean, you're probably supposed to fire off Spiral here, even if you can't put in the land. Then you can put in Sanctuary, but it doesn't do anything. Oh, there's Ren. Is that game? Because we just Time Warp ourselves and we just Sanctuary a bunch? And we just do this?
Because we can just attack with Uro with impunity now because we're taking extra turns, and if everything's blocked, then we can bring it back.
We get to make some...
We can attack with both guys. We can attack with both creatures because if Omnath goes blocked, Ren can kill the Reality Smasher and we can play the other Omnath.
Yeah, that sounds pretty phenomenal. I don't like playing this pre-comp, but I would have just started by attacking and drawing the Time Warp.
Yeah.
But, so this is going to be really tough. Whatever Ricardo does here is going to be really tough for Thomas to overcome.
Yeah.
He's not getting the turn back for a while.
I was thinking we were shooting Ballista down there, but it doesn't really matter that much anyway. So this goes in. Yeah. So I feel like, it doesn't matter. I would have done this differently. That doesn't mean that I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no real good blocks.
Yeah.
To make here. I definitely would have tried to get the Uro off the board because that's the only way you ever make progress.
Yeah. I mean, the Ballistas had, Okay,
we're doing this. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I actually, I guess you want to, all right. No, that makes sense.
Well, now we Time Warp, and and then we Sanctuary our Time Warp, and then we Spiral. That's a good reason to hold the Growth Spiral. I've criticized a lot of Ricardo's plays, and a lot of them have made a lot of sense. I think that getting that Ragran Triumph in that one turn was a little sketch, but after that, like, he's played phenomenally.
Yeah, this has been really smooth. The okay, so we see here recurring of the Time Warp. Uro will not be rejoining the board immediately, but so this isn't. I mean, there is an end to this cycle, and I think we've reached it.
Yeah, we're out of Sanctuaries.
Omnath's an attack.
We do have another turn after this.
Yeah.
And then in that turn, we will be able to escape Uro, which is a problem.
Yeah, there goes the Omnath. Thanazier can just...
Can't imagine blocking here, especially knowing about the 4th Omnath hanging out in hand.
Step out of the way and say, Ole, you're on through, and start over another turn where we'll probably do the same thing again.
Yeah, so now we get to... We don't have the 4th Sanctuary, which sucks, but we get to jam this Path into a Chalice, and that's totally fine because we just need a 6 card for considerations for Uro. Thomas won't block. He would have blocked last turn if he was going to block.
I think I'm just going to put my feet up and watch Ricardo and navigate. I don't think he needs our help or our criticism anymore. I think it's pretty in the bag.
We returned a land. I didn't really want to do that. I kind of wanted to return Uro this turn, but that's fine. Well, we can still do that, yeah. We could just path into the Chalice if you want another card in the graveyard. Yeah. Or Legend ourselves. I prefer we do this. Yep. There we go. And now we return Uro and draw a card and go to checks notes 34 life. Okay. And then we have Remand up for any All Is Dust shenanigans that Thomas would be able to pull off here. Oh, good. Cryptic Command. Okay. All right, and that does it. Yeah. Ricardo Sánchez is our victor today. Congratulations to him. Again, M_Richie_ was his streamer ID, and I saw from the chat people suggesting that he lives in Spain and he's up pretty late tonight finishing this event out. So congratulations. That was awesome. It was super cool to see that deck just absolutely pound down on the games it won. I mean, that deck doesn't win by small margins, it doesn't appear. That was an impressive showing for sure. Yeah. So definitely want to mention again that our next event, and I say that before looking at my notes, is November 28th. We're playing Standard on Arena, same prize pool as today, where the top 8 players qualify for the Arena qualifier weekend, and the winner, who today was Ricardo Sánchez, gets free entry and a round 1 bye into our showdown at the end of the year, which is December 20th. He joins Will Krueger, my guest tonight, who also has a bye in that event. That is a $2,500 event. The entry fee itself is $25. We're going to be playing 2 constructed formats in that event on December 20th, and that event is a full PTQ. So, Will, any kind of closing thoughts on what you saw here during the elimination rounds, besides the fact that Time Warp is super cool? Yeah, not only is it super cool, but it was honestly just a really impressive deck. It seems like it's so easy for all the pieces to come together. Time Warp, I'm sure, is clunky in the early game if you draw too many of them or whatever, they disrupt you. But it's kind of hard for you to get disrupted too badly. That deck was just super, super impressive. And if it's within my rental limit, I will be taking it for a spin in a couple leagues or prelims or whatever this week, and maybe I'll play it in a challenge or a PTQ coming up. Yeah, that really definitely good. Is not one of the cheaper decks. Uro itself is continued to rise. I looked at those this week, and they're just going. I mean, well, obviously the demand for the cards is insane because they're great. It's really, really strong in all the decks it gets played in, and it gets played in a bunch of decks. Yeah, they're very popular cards and very strong tournament cards. So makes sense. So thanks everyone that was watching along with us today. I know we had a few hiccups, but we persevered through it. Glad we got through the end, and you were here to see it with us.
Ricardo Sanchez winning the tournament, beating Thomas Loraas in the finals. Will, thanks for being here. Also, want to acknowledge Caroline Kavanaugh, who was here for the first half of the day. On behalf of Nerd Rage owner Norman Cohen and technical producer and judge and tournament organizer Max Kahn, my name is Joe Lossett. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you later this month for our standard event.